Magandang araw mga kababayan. Welcome to a very special broadcast of Sinag Digital Media. I'm saying that it's special because we do have a very special guest here with us at Sinag Studio, no other than the Philippine Ambassador to the state of Qatar, His Excellency Mardomel Celo D. Melicor. His ambassador is arrived in Doha on January 2025, and he has a career with a decades long experience in foreign service. His previous postings were at the Philippine diplomatic and consular missions in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Switzerland, Germany, Libya, and Poland. Prior to being designated as the Philippine envoy to the state of Qatar, Ambassador Melicor was the Assistant Secretary for the Middle East and African Affairs at the Department of Foreign Affairs in Manila. The Ambassador Melicor is married and has one child. So please let us allow me to introduce to you no other than our Ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador Mardomel Celo D. Melicor.
Thank you very much, Raymond. I'm so pleased to be invited to Sinag. It's my first time to come here, and it's a great honor to be here with you to be featured in your program.
Yes, and we are also very excited and very happy to have you here with us because one of the things that we are going to talk about is something related to living abroad and representing the Filipino because all of us are Filipinos who bring the Philippines kung saan man tayo magpunta. And at the same time, we are also going to talk about the Halalan 2025. And as I was mentioning in your profile earlier po, no, you've been to many countries na, no?
I've been in the service for 28 years, going 29. So my first assignment was in the Gulf area in Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
particularly in Jeddah. And then I was moved to Switzerland, to Germany, Libya, Poland, and to the home office in between every 6 years. And this is the newest post, Doha.
Right. So iba-ibang bansa po. And I'm sure that being in different countries, being in different cultures means that you are in a different environment. Like almost every day, di ba po? So ano po yung mga Filipino values and Filipino traditions that have guided you in while you are serving overseas?
Well, essentially, I don't even need to mention it because almost all our Filipinos here, they experience it every day, that they live in a different culture. And it is precisely this thing which makes them more acutely aware of their own culture.
Right.
Because otherwise, they would not have known it or they would not have experienced it. It's unconscious to them until they find
Right.
a different culture and then they say to themselves, iba pala kami. Dito tayo nagkakaiba. And so they become aware of their own culture. So if you ask me which were the guiding values or traditions that helped me, when we were recruited as foreign service officers in
Right.
1996, this was the time of the floor contemplation story. I don't know if many of our listeners would know that. Pero yung aming parang marching orders at that time was to help all Filipinos regardless ng kanilang grouping, social standing.
Right.
So the idea was to really institutionalize yung assisting our Filipinos abroad. So if there was any other thing that guided us, it was this. And it became even the third pillar of our national foreign policy.
Right.
Because we were not only looking for security, economic prosperity, but also the welfare of our foreign Filipinos abroad.
Right. It's a good thing that you've mentioned about all of this. And at the same time, I do understand na karamihan din ng mga Pilipino, no, lalong-lalo na kapag nadila sila sa isang bansa at nagstay sila ng matagal doon, especially when they are younger, they get to be more influenced by the new environment that they have, especially if they've stayed there for a long time. So what do you think, or in a personal perspective po, how do Filipinos could stay grounded um, as a Filipino while they are abroad?
I think that is right. If they are out for so long and if they have been acculturated to
Opo.
the new environment, that they don't grow up in a Filipino setting. They might become like different kinds of people. But I think if they live in a family where the parents speak to them in their vernacular language or in Tagalog, and if they constantly visit through now through social media their relatives in the Philippines, they will know exactly without being told specifically, consciously, what these values are. For
Right.
example, we value our and we have very high regard for our elders, respect for our elders. We value smooth personal relations. We value pakikisama. Yung, these things, you don't even need to mention them. Children catch them. And so I think the link that is crucial are the parents with whom these children live. And if they find that their parents are proud of being Filipinos, they're proud of their culture, the children will also develop this.
Right. And actually, maganda po yung point na nabanggit nyo na just practicing yung language natin and doing something such as pagsasalita ng Filipino language sa bahay natin would really allow us to be rooted doon sa ating bansang Pilipinas. And in fact, kahit nga sa social media, nabanggit nyo po, no, there are so many entertainment and information that we can gather that would allow us to understand more who we are as Filipinos.
Yes, there's a great discussion among thinkers whether the thing that you want to communicate is existing there and you just use any other language to do that, or whether the language itself, for example, Tagalog,
Right.
has something inherent in it which you can never even express in any other language. And I would rather tend to gravitate towards the second thing. Kasi if you teach people, kunyari, pakikisama or magandang asal, you can have English equivalents or local equivalents of this, but it's so easily expressed. No? For example, utang na loob. Yeah. So these things you can never really, pull them away from the language. So I think a
Right.
language is a very important link to
Right.
your culture.
That's true. That's true po. Tapos kayo po, di ba dumating po kayo dito in January of this year, 2025. So sobrang bago pa lang.
Yeah.
How do you find Qatar so far po?
So far, I've been passing through Qatar sa Doha, pero sa airport lang.
Okay.
So in January, this was my first time to really enter the city and experience. First of all, I was very impressed by the infrastructure. It's very first world, but also the warmth of the people, the locals, the Qataris themselves. They're very friendly, and
Right.
they really speak to your heart. So I think it would not be very difficult for Filipinos to relate to them.
But what does Qatar remind you of na naaalala mo ang Pilipinas? Naalala niyo po na, parang nasa Pilipinas ako?
Difficult question, no? But when Qataris gather together as a family, when they eat together, that reminds us of the home. That reminds us
Exactly.
of the family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Medyo ano din sila family-oriented yung
Yes.
kanilang culture din, similar to us as Filipinos. And sa ngayon po, papasok na ang May. And on May 5, we will be celebrating the 44 years of when the first bilateral relationship between Qatar and the Philippines started. So, how do you find na ito po, celebrate natin 44 years na ang relationship ng dalawang bansa?
Well, so many people here in Qatar might not have yet been born at that time. And there was a need. The number of Filipinos in Qatar was growing, And consular needs of Filipinos then was provided from Bahrain. So when they saw the need to open really consular and diplomatic presence in Doha, yun, 45 years ago, they decided na let's have diplomatic relations. There's enough for us, two countries, to improve our bilateral ties by
Right.
putting each an embassy in our capitals.
And that's why we here at Sinag Digital Media would also want to celebrate that. And soon, we are going to have a very special show para sa ating mga kababayan dito and also for the Qataris here in Qatar wherein we celebrate the cultures and the unity that we have had over the years. So ayan po aabangan mga kababayan
Yeah.
natin. Pero syempre, since nabanggit ko po ang mga kababayan natin dito, many Filipinos here and around the world are striving to make a mark abroad. So,
Yeah.
what message would you like to share with them, especially those who are just starting dun sa kanilang karera po bilang isang overseas Filipino professional?
Well, I could tell them to really make the most of their time here. I have met some Filipinos in Qatar. During their free time, they study something else. They want to pass an exam. They want to improve their qualifications. So all I could say is, siguro, follow Rizal's example. When he was in Europe, he saw all his kapwa Filipino in Barcelona, in Madrid, and they were only looking after the beautiful ladies. And sabi niya, no, you have to study the language, improve your language skills, learn French, learn German, learn other things that will improve yourself. So para sa ating mga kababayan, if you are an accountant, an engineer, or whatever is your field, no, you improve yourself kasi this is a nice place. The Qataris are very welcoming, wages are quite high, and you have a lot of time. So use that time to improve yourself.
Yeah, upskilling, ano, very important yan ngayon, especially with the changing times, with the technology, with the modernity na nangyayari. So we have to adapt with everything that is changing in the world we are living in. Ano po?
Yes, I even met someone na driver, pero in his free time, he had a lot of YouTube time, so he could look around and see how he could fix small errors lang sa vehicle. Yung
Right.
lights, it's very interesting and very encouraging to see how Filipinos who had no background before learn a new trade. Like, for example, bake or make bread or
Right.
fix cars.
Right.
Very encouraging.
And there are so many opportunities naman for us to learn, especially nowadays with the technology. Kahit nga sa YouTube, we can find something, that would allow us to grow as individuals. And
Yes.
nababanggit po natin yung mga pwedeng gawin ng mga Pilipino abroad in making a mark. And one of that is staying to our roots, staying to our Filipino values, our traditions. And at the same time, yung responsibility din natin as a Filipino citizen. And naipapakita po natin yan through participation po. And sa ngayon, magkakaroon tayo ng Halalan 2025. Kailan po ang start or paano po makakapag-participate muna ang mga Pilipino sa Qatar?
Lahat ng mga Filipinos overseas can vote online. If they are registered lang. So ang kailangan nilang alamin, rehistrado ba ako sa, for example, sa Doha
Right.
or sa Kuwait or wherever Philippine foreign post na nandun sila nakaboto last time. So most probably registered pa sila doon. They can check that by going to our website and then looking up their names. So if they
Okay.
are in Doha, for example, they can look under Doha and see if listed naman yan alphabetically.
Right.
If their names are there, they can vote.
Okay. So what
The-
if yung galing po, kunyari ako ng Kuwait before and I was registered there, can I still vote here?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
That's good to know.
absolutely you can, because your voting now is electronic. So all you have to do is, if you're there, you just have to pre-enroll. By pre-enrolling, we mean you have to tell COMELEC, I'm here. I'm this
Okay.
person here listed in your certificate of registered voters and I want to vote.
Okay. So if
Yun
they
po.
have already registered before as an overseas voter, pwede po sila mag-enroll ngayon for the online voting. They do it online po, ano?
Yes, yes. They should have registered themselves before September 30 kasi the
Okay.
cutoff was September
Okay.
30 last year. If they are there, they can vote.
Okay.
And they do that by first pre-enrolling.
Pre-enrolling.
Pre-enrolling means to get your Philippine passport as much as possible or your other passports na pwede like your driver's license or
Right.
your IBP ID if you're a
Mhm.
lawyer.
Mhm.
But best to just everybody has this anyway. Yung
Yeah.
passport na lang.
Passport, oo. Kasi kung abroad nga, di ba?
Yeah.
You should have your
If you
passport.
get your passport and your cell phone, and then you go to the link where you can pre-enroll, you can do it in a couple of minutes. What happens there is you have to take a photo of your passport.
Right.
The software will recognize your face and your name, and the software will check your name against the list of COMELEC. If they
Okay.
match, they will ask you to do a selfie. So with the selfie now, they will also match your face on the passport
Right.
and your actual selfie picture.
So napakadali po pala. Kahit
Madali
cellphone
po.
lang ang gamit, we can pre-enroll for the voting registration. Hanggang
Yes
kailan po ang pre-enrollment period natin?
Our cutoff is May 7.
May 7
So
po.
dapat by May 7, kung registered voter kayo, dapat nag-pre-enroll na kayo. Otherwise, if you don't, you cannot vote also.
Okay.
They will cut that off. May cut off
Okay.
tayo.
So May 7 po ang cutoff for pre-enrollment, but ensure na nakapag-register na kayo as a voter in the past. Kasi sa ngayon closed na 'yon, ano, yung registration na
na.
'yon. But where can they find po yung yung list ng names ng mga registered? Pwede ko po bang may pwede po ba akong bisitahin na website?
We have it posted in our website. Actually, meron tayo dong Halalan 2025. And there's an announcement there of the certified list of overseas voter, yung
Right.
CLOV, which is really a list of COMELEC.
Okay.
So when they go to our website, they will be redirected to the COMELEC list and they can find their names there alphabetically kasi.
Okay. So we are going to post a link to that particular website so that our viewers can check kung nandun nga ba yung pangalan nila, and then you can pre-enroll hanggang May 7. So now, nakapag-enroll na po, paano po bumoto?
Once you pre-enroll, let's say it will take you 3 or 4 minutes to do the pre-enrolling. Actually, you can already vote because you will just supply a username and a password. Usually, we suggest that you use an email address so that when they say, yes, you have now pre-enrolled and you have a password so that you can open the voting part.
Yung page po kung saan po nila ipapasok yung kanilang mga boto mismo.
Yeah,
No?
because pag pre-enrolled na po kayo, how will they know na ikaw ito? So meron kang password.
Okay.
Then you open the voting module doon and you can vote already kasi you'll just have to click certain the buttons opposite
Right.
your candidates the votes
Right.
you're voting for, the candidates you're voting for. So kaya nga ang aming payo sana after pre-enrolling, boto na kaagad.
Exactly.
Kasi we have 30 days to vote. It started in April 13. It will end on May 7. So, May 12.
Yeah.
So, 30 whole days. So, if you pre-enroll up to May 7, why don't you just pre-enroll and vote na kaagad?
Yeah, wag na hintayin yung May
Wag na
12, ano?
hintayin. Yeah.
Kasi on May 12 also, there's a specific time on when we can, up until a certain time la pwede tayong bumoto. And
Yes
if
po.
I'm not mistaken, that's 2 p.m. po, no?
Yes po, because we operate, COMELEC operates synchronously. So, when the precincts in the Philippines close, all foreign service posts close also at the
Sarado
same
na.
time.
Okay.
So, for Qatar, that's 2 p.m.
Okay, so 2 p.m. po ang
Mm,
closing on May 12. Pero wag nyo nang hayaan na umabot pa kayo dyan sa deadline na yan.
yeah.
Pwedeng-pwede na po kayong bumoto. And we are going to provide you the links and yung mga guidelines kung paano kayo magpi-pre-enroll, kung paano kayo boboto.
Mm,
And meron lang pong iniisip ngayon yung mga kababayan natin. Kasi this is going to be a first for
yes.
online voting. And people are thinking, is this really a safe process on how we can cast our votes?
I think it is fairly safe. It's fairly safe because otherwise the COMELEC would not have certified and would not have used it. So it is an electronic system. After you vote, people think they can still see yung whom they have voted for.
Mhm.
Like in a paper technology na when you vote, you can still see it. But sa electronic voting kasi, when you vote, they will tell you, review your votes. You will
Mhm.
see it again. And then, when you say really cast your vote, wala na, you cannot see that anymore. Now, the secrecy is part of the package, the design, so that
Apa.
even you yourself, you cannot see it anymore. Nobody will see it.
Mhm.
It's only in the servers of Comelec, and then come closing time, the tallying will also be done. So we think that there is no margin for errors or election fraud that can enter this. It's fully electronic kasi.
That's really good to know. And yung parang feeling mo safe naman talaga yung ginagawa natin na yung boto natin ay talagang mabibilang at hindi
Yes.
tayo tipong gumawa lang ng isang bagay na baka mawala din pala or masayang.
No, I
So
don't
it's going
think
to be
so.
safe.
Actually, masasayang siya
Yeah.
if you don't
If you
vote.
don't vote, oo nga
Yeah.
po no. So
So
is there any like message that you would want to tell our viewers right now, encouraging them sa pagboto?
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. I would like to appeal to all our kababayans there who are registered. Please enroll yourself now before May 7 and then vote right away. You can do it in the privacy and comfort of your own homes anytime, 24/7. Mas maigi ngayon if you are alone because you can really plan out whom to vote for and then vote right there and then. Nobody will influence you or call you out on whom you are voting. You can do it in privacy and conveniently at this time of the evening or day when you are free. So that way, you don't have to go to the embassy to vote, to travel to the embassy. Look, we are open also. We are open from 8 to 5 every day until May 12, even on Fridays and Saturdays and holidays like Easter. Bukas po ang embassy noon. So sa ating mga kababayan, all you have to do is use your mobile phone, smartphones, or your laptops or your iPads, pre-enroll and vote. If you encounter problems, then the embassy is open. That's why we are open because our unit there will assist you in using your phone or your iPad to vote. So, kung may problema lang talaga, they can go to the embassy para tulungan sila. Pero yung voting doon, sa sarili din nilang mga iPads or mobile phones.
All right. Thank you so much, Ambassador. And just as we close these topics that we have had, of course, we have discussed the Halalan 2025. And earlier, we were discussing about the Filipino values and traditions, particularly yung living abroad, representing the Filipino. Is there any final message that you would want to have for our kababayans who are living abroad?
Well, all I could say is that do your best in your jobs, in your positions. Um, we are there in the embassy to fully support you in all you do. And I also appeal to exercise your vote, to be involved in nation building by making your voice be heard. It is very important in a democracy that we choose the right leaders. So this is the only chance for you to do that. Exercise, go out, and vote.
Alright, thank you so much and maraming salamat po sa pagsama dito sa amin sa Sinag Digital Media. And of course, Sinag is a Filipino word. It means a
Yes.
ray of light. And kung meron po akong final question na talaga, how do you, or paano niyo po, ano po ang meaning sa inyo ng Sinag in the context of your life's journey and maybe even in career?
I'm not a Tagalog, so the word itself does not mean much to me. But when we were in high school, we had um, our sections was yung sa high school, di ba, by
Opo.
section may mga
Opo.
pangalan. And yung fourth year, I was first year then, ang tawag sa kanila, for sinag. But that meant something like gold. So I think yung sinag has something to do with shining and
Right.
gold and luster. So ang masasabi ko is, in all my dealings with mga Qatari employers, they have only praises for Filipino workers. Magagaling, they are doing their work very well, very resourceful, economical, they work silently, pulido ang trabaho. You know, these types of comments, and that makes them shine. Kaya yun ang ma-associate ko sa Sinag, yung Filipinos shine in any jobs they are placed in. I was in Libya, I was in Saudi. So in all these places where there are a lot of OFWs, they are always praised for their work. Kaya sumisinag sila.
All right. Thank you so much, our dear ambassador. Of course, this is a very special episode tulad ng nasabi ko sa inyo kanina because joining us today for Sinag Digital Media is no other than the ambassador of the Philippines to the state of Qatar. Walang iba kundi si Ambassador Mardomel Celo D. Melicor. And again, thank you on behalf of Sinag Digital Media.
You're welcome, Raymond.